So Jeremy, to summarize Scrumban, we're going to talk about what is Scrumban made out of. And to kick it off, I would say Scrumban is made up of Scrum and Kanban, just like it
Hey,
sounds like.
good hypothesis. I like it.
Yeah. So let's just revisit Scrum. So what is Scrum about? Simple framework.
Mhm.
It is made up of cross-functional teams where they select a sprint and they plan on that sprint and then they deliver. And then they do the review and the retrospective at the end of the iteration. And one unique thing about Scrum is they have a daily stand-up and they have some Scrum artifacts.
Yep.
Right? So
Yeah, very structured. Like
very structured.
Everything's set,
Uh-huh.
and that's how you do it.
There's a lot of prescription on how they can become agile,
Mhm.
right? And when you look at Kanban, you visualize your work, you visualize your roadblocks,
Mhm.
and you actually limit your work in progress, and you make explicit policies for your team on when does planning starts, when is the story ready, when does it get done, what is definition done. You
Mhm.
get to decide as a team. So Kanban focuses a lot more on the pull-based and flow-based methodology.
Yes, and much more unstructured. Says, here's kind of the framework, but gives you some freedom to mold it to your organizational needs.
Yep.
Good.
Both of these are frameworks for doing agile
Mhm.
or following the agile principle.
Sure.
And Scrumban actually takes the best of both of methodologies. So for example, from a Scrum, it takes the planning of Scrum. There's still
Yep.
some kind of planning.
Mhm.
There's still some kind of time box or a sprint. And they can still do the reviews and retros. So that's what it comes from Scrum. And it gives a little bit more of a prescription on how they can still pay attention to being agile. And from the Kanban, it takes the approach of pull-based system, where you're doing the planning, but it's more of a pull-based planning,
Mhm.
and you can do that based on the length of your iteration and the complexity of the work that you have in that iteration.
Absolutely. And with Scrumban, they still use that Kanban board, so they give the visualization of
100%.
those work items, which is really important to teams. And I've seen the Scrumban get used a lot when companies are immature. They start
Yeah.
their Scrum, right? They maybe
Yeah.
start Agile for the first time. They develop
Mhm.
their Scrum. They
Mhm.
follow that real prescriptive approach and step by step. And here's rules you need to follow.
Mhm.
And then they're like, you know what? We want to move. We're now mature. We've been doing this for a number of years,
Yeah.
and we want something that we can mold a little bit more.
100%.
And so then they want to go to Kanban. But that jump from Scrum to Kanban is
Yeah.
pretty drastic. That's a big
Yeah.
leap. So they
Yeah.
use Scrumban to really help them remove a little bit of structure, but keep
Yeah.
a little bit of structure. Go
Yeah.
to Kanban or Scrumban and work with that for a while before they eventually potentially move to full-on Kanban.